Welcome, folks, to our amazing botanic gardens and at our Albuquerque BioPark in the city of Albuquerque. And we do have a very special announcement today. Really, I think for us, an innovative, groundbreaking partnership with a just seminal project about 80 miles northwest of here. And so we're here to talk about basically it's a 5-year agreement with the Valles Caldera National Preserve. So this is a partnership between the city of Albuquerque, the BioPark, and of course our National Park Service. And this really is about bringing the BioPark's wildlife and conservation expertise to the incredible habitat of the Valles Caldera. And I'm sure many folks remember and know where that is, but you drive up to the Jemez and you keep going, and it is just spectacular. It's something I remember even as a child going up to, we always cut our Christmas trees up there every year, and before it was a national preserve, we used to drive by and just think, wow, it'd be so awesome to be able to go out there and enjoy it. And of course, it was about a decade ago when a lot of folks put a lot of hard work into making that a national preserve. And now it's going to be part of this wonderful partnership with our zoo and park efforts to do a couple of things. It's about native endangered wildlife and restoring habitats, and also about cross-education. So people are going to be able to learn about Valles Caldera here at the BioPark and vice versa. And our BioPark staff, who I see out there, is going to get some great road trips up to the Caldera to do all sorts of wonderful conservation and education efforts out there. And so we want to invite the community to become part of conservation and stewardship when it comes to this project, and we're going to talk about how to do that. But it's going to take place right here and up on site at Valles Caldera. So with more on this, I want to hand it over to our Deputy Director at our Arts and Culture Department, who in particular really works with all things BioPark, Brandon Gibson. Brandon?
Thank you, Mayor. Conservation partnerships expand the BioPark's reach far beyond its gates. Helping to connect our guests to the conservation efforts within our own state is one of our top priorities. The Valles Caldera National Preserve is one of the most important places here in New Mexico. It's home to a vast array of wildlife and high watersheds. Tributaries like the East Fork of the Jemez River eventually connect to the Rio Grande, which flows adjacent here at the BioPark. The Albuquerque BioPark has a long history of conservation projects with federal partners. Our team at the Aquatic Conservation Facility has partnered with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services for over 20 years and has helped reintroduce over 800,000 silver minnows back into the Rio Grande. The BioPark has also partnered with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service since 1983 on the Mexican Gray Wolf Project and has released wolves back into the wild in New Mexico, Arizona, and Sonora, Mexico. The BioPark's diverse team of experts can help support this amazing field conservation that is already being done at the Valles Caldera. We will be adding education and interpretive materials here across the Albuquerque BioPark to connect our 1.2 million guests to the native habitat at the Valles Caldera National Preserve. Our goal for the first year will be installing bat and bee boxes at the National Preserve, helping produce more pollinators. We'll also be helping remove old section of ranch fencing and assisting in planting projects in areas surrounding riparian habitats. Future projects will hopefully include supporting the Jemez Mountain salamander and the New Mexico meadow jumping mouse, along with many volunteer-based survey works to help monitor the important wildlife activity at the National Preserve. Now I'd like to introduce Valles Caldera National Preserve Superintendent Jorge Silva Benuelos.
Thank you, Mayor Keller, Deputy Director Gibson, Director Stoll. It's an honor to be here with you today. You know, Valles Caldera's enchanting beauty can sometimes obscure how much the landscape was exploited in the 20th century due to overgrazing, clear-cut logging, and even geothermal energy exploration. In the process, many native wildlife species were eliminated or are now at risk of extinction. This legacy is why the National Park Service is charged with restoring this area back to a fully functioning ecosystem, where fire plays a safe but beneficial role, and the Valles help recharge our streams and aquifers, with clean and abundant water. Creating healthy habitat then allows us to begin the process of reintroducing native species and helping others that are on the brink. We're already seeing native species coming back to the area, like beaver, Rio Grande cutthroat trout, and just this year, the Mexican spotted owl was now sighted in Valles Caldera National Preserve. Through this zoo park partnership, we will be able to work with the Albuquerque BioPark to help support native bee and bat populations. And in the future, we hope to collaborate on breeding programs to restore populations of threatened and endangered species, like the Jemez Mountain salamander and the New Mexico meadow jumping mouse. We're so grateful for this collaborative partnership, and for that reason, it is my sincere privilege to designate each of you honorary junior park rangers of Valles Caldera National Preserve.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah,
I'll hand this out.
I've wanted that forever, man. Look at this. Finally, 20 years in the making.
Here you go.
Sir.
I love it.
And with that, I'll turn it over to Director Stephanie Stoll. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. You know, we are so honored to have the opportunity to work alongside you and your staff and the National Park Service on this exciting Zoo Park Partnership for America's Keystone Wildlife. The announcement of our partnership today actually coincides with the first day of our virtual annual Zoos and Association of Zoos and Aquariums Conference. This is when all 220 plus of the accredited zoos and aquariums from around the world come together to talk about best practices in our profession and also about the impacts of our program. I bring this up because the theme of today's opening general session was wildlife conservation is a shared responsibility. We reflected on the impacts we can have when we work together in partnership with other like-minded organizations and agencies. We acknowledge that when we come together, we can make the exceptional possible for wildlife and wild places. And what we are talking about here today, this partnership between the City of Albuquerque, the BioPark, and Valles Caldera is truly exceptional. We're talking about creating critical connections through providing hands-on opportunities for our community to engage in real-time field conservation. And with 1.2 million visitors annually, the BioPark is uniquely positioned to spark that curiosity and a conservation ethic in our guests and in our community. Through our educational programming and our inspiring exhibits of endangered plants and animals, we create up-close connections for our guests. And then our website, social media, and other digital media help to extend that engagement and that learning. And now we have this truly unique opportunity to invite all of those guests, all 1.2 million in our community, in joining us to make a difference for wildlife. The Valles Caldera will provide the most inspirational classroom. Can you just see it? That will allow us to continue that learning and engagement that starts here at the BioPark in this community and then provides those community members the opportunity to participate in and contribute to real-time conservation needs, to become citizen scientists, to support native pollinators and other native wildlife. We truly couldn't be more excited about this partnership and for this opportunity to together make real conservation impacts. We're thrilled and honored to be a part of this partnership, and I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Keller now to bring us to a close.
Thanks. Good job. So let's get the superintendent back up here because I can't be outdone with his junior, park ranger badge. So, we'd like to make you honorary mayor today.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So, any questions on this? It's such a wonderful program, and I know it's pretty straightforward.
Quick question here, Mayor. Why now, I guess?
That is actually an excellent question, and a lot of it has to do with sort of resource availability and now the steadiness that is in place because of the Valles Caldera's leadership. And so I also want to mention, Jorge's from New Mexico, went to high school here, and so we're also lucky to have one of our own. But anything else you guys want to add on timing? Particular? Yeah.
This is a relatively new type of partnership. There's only 8 so far within Zoo Parks partnerships with the National Park Service. So it takes a little bit of time to get this rolling, but we've been working on this for a good almost 2 years. So why now? It's probably why not sooner? But it's still a great opportunity to try to collaborate and help some of these at-risk species that are at Valles Caldera.
And really quick honorary mayor, just tell us too, how's the community getting involved with? That's a big topic here too. What's their potential opportunities? I guess we're talking about what's their potential role and getting involved really.
Yeah, I think one of the great opportunities here will be some volunteerism opportunities, both bringing visitors to the biopark to learn about Valles Caldera, but also bringing Albuquerque BioPark volunteers up to Valles Caldera, helping us first off with helping build some bee boxes and bat boxes to help promote pollinators in Valles Caldera, but also to expand that knowledge, help with some inventory and monitoring surveys so we can get baseline trends of how are we doing with our restoration efforts that are going on.
Before I let you go too, just one more time as well. When will this start? When will this start, I guess? When will the programming start?
As soon as we can, I guess. We're hopeful to begin some of the volunteer work to build these bee boxes and bat boxes. And then hopefully, probably next spring, it does get a little cold up there, we'll start getting people up there to install them. I'll pass it back to the real mayor.
Anything else?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Good stuff. I know we had some questions on other topics, so we'll just pause for a second and we can take those. Thanks, everybody, and great to see the staff. So great to see everyone out here. Yeah.